from this to this. That's what we're fixing to do. Hello, my name's Susan, and today's project was inspired by Design on the Nines, Natalie. She did this wonderful bookcase where she added doors and stuff. Now what I've done isn't nowhere near that grand, but it's the first time I've done something like this, so I'm very pleased with how it turned out. If you like content like this, please subscribe, ring that bell, and give it a big thumbs up. So without further ado, let's get started. This was a free bookcase that I got where I used to work. I used to work at a daycare, so it had all these primary colors, and I wanted to put a top on it. So I measured, and my husband was so sweet enough to cut the end of it off for me. He's a good man. The bookcase had been sitting out on my carport, and it was filthy. So I gave it a good dusting, and I cleaned it with some of Dixie Belle's White Lightning. First, I gave it a light sanding with my new electric sander. I wanted to give the paint something to hold on to. And thing number one in this project I learned is I need to get an extension cord for my sander. And I also sanded down the board that my husband had cut for me, especially the ends. This is what I used, the Dixie Belle White Lightning. And it calls for 2 heaping tablespoons per gallon of water, and I just used a half a gallon of water. And for those of you who watch my cooking channel, I do not use the same utensils for both my cooking and my crafting, just to give you a little peace of mind. And after the Dixie Belle dissolved in the water, I just took a clean rag, squeezed out as much water as I could, and just wiped it down really good, getting everywhere on top, the bottom shelf, and just everywhere I could get. And then went back afterwards with another rag with clear water, and then just dried it with a third rag. The second thing I learned is when you buy your trim, do not lean it up against the wall. Lay it flat on the floor, because as you can see, it will warp. But I made it work. I cut the trim using my miter box, and I learned too that I need to invest in a chop saw. It would have been much easier. I had measured around the bottom of my bookcase and drew a line, and so I would know where to cut. And here are my cut pieces. I put wood glue on the backs of the trim before nailing them in with little brad nails. And now I'm fixing to drill holes to put my top on my bookcase. And I didn't realize when I first started drilling the holes that I was drilling into screws that were in the original bookcase. So I learned thing number 3. Do not touch a hot screw. I moved my spacing in a little bit to avoid hitting the screw. And I also put wood glue on the bottom of this wood and made sure that I had dusted off where I had been drilling and before screwing in the screws. Things went much better this time when I tried to screw in the screws. And somehow I missed the footage of me spackling, but I put spackle in all the nail holes and any place that needed spackling, the cracks on the trim. And now I'm just wiping it, sanding it down before giving it a good wipe. Now the fun part starts. I'm going to paint, and I wanted to paint the back a different color. I wanted the bookcase to be black, but I wanted to paint the back of it in a light color. And I'm using the Waverly chalk paint white in crystal, and it's just got the faintest tint of blue. It looks white, but it's got that very faint tint of blue. And I had to give it a few coats, and then I painted the rest. I had a little bit of Dixie Belle black, I think it's caviar, left, but it wasn't enough. So I used it up, and then I also used the Waverly chalk paint and ink to paint the rest of it. And when I finished painting, I did put a clear coat over everything. And sometimes when your chalk paint is very thick, you can just spray a little bit of water in there and it'll help thin it and make it go on a lot smoother. And this is the first glimpse of it. I did go back in and touch it up. And when I brought it in, my cat Bushy decided that he would claim it for his own. And here it is, finished and decorated, and my other cat, Prissy, she decided she liked it also. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and ring that bell. And leave a comment down below how you like to redo your furniture. Alright, until next time, bye.